Hey everybody, it's Brooke with the Buttered Home and welcome to my messy kitchen. Tonight we have one of our most beloved recipes that we're going to share with you. It is our recipe for pineapple cheese casserole. This is one of our friends and family's most favorite things to have, and this recipe means the holidays. Whatever holiday it is, we have to have it. I dedicate this recipe to my good friend, mine and Danny's good friend Tyler. He lives about 3 hours away from us, but he works in the area from time to time. And my husband thinks he's a little spoiled because whenever he comes to town, I always make him a pineapple cheese casserole. So Tyler, this one is for you. And if you're in town, you probably better come by and get it. So let's get started. So I like doing this in a throwaway pan because it's usually whenever I make it, it's either to go home with Tyler or someone else, or it's to take to a church luncheon or just to have at the holidays. And if y'all have been watching me very long, you know that I don't like to clean up. So this throwaway pan, I buy them just for this casserole. So we want to grease it lightly, because we don't want all this goodness sticking to the pan. Now, one thing I wanted to mention is I always put, whenever I cook in these aluminum pans, in these throwaway pans, or if I cook a pie, mainly a custard, something that's wobbly, I'll always cook it on a small sheet pan. It just makes it easier to handle. You're less likely to drop it. It's less likely to buckle. So I really like using these for these. So to our lightly greased pan, we're going to add 2 cans of pineapple, preferably chunked pineapple. Now I have already drained these, but I leave just a little tiny bit, just a little tiny bit of that juice in there to just wet the bottom. But for the most part, they're drained. Now, the pineapple chunks are kind of big, so what I have found over the years is I like doing 1 can of pineapple chunks and 1 can of pineapple tidbits. It just creates a small difference in the texture and makes it more casserole-like. So we're going to pop both of those cans, but the recipe calls for 2 cans of chunk, but it's a little bit like cooking with garlic. Just follow your heart here and whatever you feel is the best. I have also used crushed pineapple in this, but it's just, I'll be honest, it's just much harder to drain. So, and you don't want a whole lot of liquid in here because the pineapple is mostly moisture. And the things that we're about to add to it now will help pull out and draw out that moisture. So we really don't need any excess moisture. So over here I have 1 cup of granulated sugar and I have 5 tablespoons of plain flour. So I'm going to mix that plain flour in with that sugar because those juices that release from the pineapple naturally will mix with this sugar and this flour and create a pineapple gravy. I know, that doesn't sound appetizing. I'm sure, or let's say a pineapple slurry, a sweetened pineapple slurry, or a macerated pineapple. That's probably better. So we just mix those up really well, and then we sprinkle that right over the top. Now I like to make sure my edges are nice and covered, so you see me go around the edges a little extra. The sugar and flour combination kind of help keep that pineapple from burning. So we get that all sprinkled out over the top and it looks like snow-capped mountains. So now what we want to do is we have 1.5 cups of grated sharp cheddar cheese, and I'm going to take about half of that. No, not half of it. I'm going to take all of it. I'm thinking about another daggum casserole. And I just grated this cheese and didn't put it back in the refrigerator, so it's like extra sticky. So we're going to cover that nice and well on the top, getting all that cheese in here. And 1.5 cups is just enough to kind of offset all that sweet. But I have been known to put 2 cups in here because Big D always says that 1.5 cups is never enough. So cheese, and how you do the pineapple. Follow your heart. Follow your heart on that. So now the very last thing, well, it's not the very last thing, but the last thing that we're gonna top it with is gonna be some butter crackers. Now there's lots of creative tips and tricks about crushing these butter crackers, but really y'all, just put them in your hand and squeeze. And then you have control over where they go. And they're nice. Yeah, you can put them in a food processor, but you gotta wash that dish. I'd rather just wash my hands because, you know, I'm always gonna do that before I cook, and I'm always gonna do it after I cook, especially if I'm cooking with something sticky like this. All right, then I just dust my hands off. Oh, we have one little stray. And by crushing them with your hands, if you wanted larger pieces and smaller pieces, you can totally control doing that. And you can even crush them over a separate bowl so that if you want to make sure you get finely crushed crackers, that you don't do it directly over the top. That's what's fun about cooking, is finding your own little tips and tricks. Now we have 1/2 cup of melted butter. That's 1 stick. And just like with the sugar and flour mixture, I'm going to make sure my edges have butter first. And then I'm just going to back and forth over the top and get all that butter added in there. Okay, this goes into a 350-degree oven for about 20 to 25 minutes, just until it's nice and bubbly and the top is brown. And when that's done, we will be back to show you the finished product, so stay with us. We finished a 25-minute cook time, and would you look at this beauty. I like a little bit of color on the top, more than a 350-degree oven will sometimes give. It was brown, but I like, especially for these videos, for it to be just a little more brown than normal, just because sometimes when I'm filming in my kitchen, my lighting is not great. So I always want you to know that I've just cooked this. So it's glorious, it's beautiful. I'm gonna dish some up. It's still really hot, so I'm gonna dish it up and then get me a forkful and just show you how beautiful it is. You can see all of those delicious textures in there, the cheese. And look, if you've never had this before, the cheese and the buttery, salty cracker is a great contrast to the sweet, sweet, sweet of that sugar and the pineapple. So it really is worth trying. And I just wanted to also show you this delicious slurry syrup that it makes. It's not too much, but y'all, I just about drained all of that pineapple out before I, put it in here. So it does make a difference. Now I'm gonna get a forkful so that it can be cooling before I try to take a bite of it. And we're gonna just turn things around. And it's fantastic. It's very hot, very, very hot. But I'm gonna take a bite of it. I'm gonna sacrifice the hide on my tongue for you. Sweet, crunchy, salty, cheesy, all of the things. It is all of the things. This is a great one of those sides at the holidays that really kind of doubles as a dessert. My dad eats it with his regular holiday food, and he goes back for more as a dessert. I believe He's even skipped the pound cake for this. This recipe, like all of our others, can be found over at thebutteredhome.com. All of our recipes are free to you. You can print them out and save them in your own recipe book or your own recipe box. And as always, we would love for you to give us a visit over there. We work really hard on all of this content, and one way that you can support us is by visiting our website at thebutteredhome.com. If you want to know exactly what all we're doing, because we do different things in different places, make sure that you're following us on all of our social channels. We have a really good time, and we want you here for all that we're doing. And if you want all of our videos in one convenient place, head over to YouTube, search for The Buttered Home, and if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button so that you can be notified when we drop new videos like this one. Y'all, I guess Big D will have to eat this. Tyler didn't show up. No, he'll be here later. So we're going to set this aside for him and let him take what's left, because I do have a dish full for me, and he can have the rest as he's up here working really hard this week. So Tiny, this was for you, and now you can make this and share it for all the people that you love just like we do. And as always, from the buttered home to your home, we love y'all. Bye.